Hello and welcome. Hi everyone, thank you so much for being here tonight. My name is Kate McHugh and I am the chair of the Law Alumni Board. I am so proud to be a double buff, CU 08 and class of 2012. And let's just say it, let's go men and women's CU basketball. Woo, go Buffs! Woo! That's loud. And some years it's a problem that we're all in here when we want to be watching it on TV, but instead we can cheer tomorrow. So before we get going, I'd like to say how much I appreciate being here. I am the office managing partner for Louis Roca, and feel so grateful every day to do what I do and to have been taught how to do it at the University of Colorado. Before we begin, I'd like to recognize that the University of Colorado sits upon land within the Ute, Cheyenne, and Arapaho peoples' territories and many other Native American nations. Further, we acknowledge that 48 contemporary tribal nations are historically tied to the lands that make up the state of Colorado. All right, a couple quick housekeeping matters. If there is anyone hovering around the edges looking for a seat, we have some extras. So if you have an extra seat at your table, just raise your hand quickly. All right, you got your pick of the litter, guys. Just find an open seat and take it. And that leads me to saying thank you. I know this has been a little bumpier than sometimes that we had to readjust from last week to this week. So thank you for your flexibility. We didn't want to do it, but your safety was of the utmost importance. And then once we decided that we were pushing it back a week, we were able to lean into the snow and just say, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. There is so much to celebrate tonight. I am so excited to see how many awesome things that CU Law has been and is doing. I hope you were able to explore the expo tonight and get to talk with many of our students and faculty about all of the things that they are working on. All right, it's now time to recognize a bunch of people. I have learned a new term as part of this, which I'm told is called a conference clap. I don't know if you're familiar. I have been only since I got this script about a week ago. But what it means is I'm going to give you a list of names or a small grouping, and then we'll clap for all of them at once instead of one at a time, okay? But the first one is really just one person, so we're starting off easy. I want to thank my colleague, Tim Galuzzi, the Law Alumni Board Chair-elect, and the Banquet Committee Chair. He put so much into tonight. Thank you, Tim. I would also like to thank the law school's staff. Everyone has come up to me tonight and has been very gracious and said, oh my gosh, it must have been so hard for you moving the banquet. It wasn't, but only because CU staff handled all of it. So thank you. We appreciate all of the work you guys put into it, and I think all of us know what a deadline feels like and how great it would have felt for them to be done with this last Thursday, and they had an extra week of it, so let's give them an extra loud round of applause. Next, I'd like to ask all the Law Alumni Board members in attendance, please stand and be recognized. Now that's our current group, but we stand on the shoulders of giants. Can the past alumni board members please stand? Okay. I know our honorees tonight are pleased, as am I, that we are joined by many of the past Law Alumni Award honorees. If you've been an award winner in the past, please stand and be recognized. And now it is my distinct pleasure to recognize the staff members that support the Law Alumni Board. They make our role so easy and so fun. Thank you, Hind Almagadi, Emily Battaglia, Yesenia Delgado, Robert Gerlich, Jeremy Jones, Robin Munn, Emily Nist, Nick Rusky, Lisa Parks, Lauren Schneider, Georgette Vigil, and Marissa Zumundio. Please stand and be recognized. You guys make us look good every day. Thank you. We also have many distinguished members of our legal community here. Can members of the federal and Colorado judiciary and Colorado elected officials please stand and be recognized? Thank you for being here tonight. All right, I have the pleasure of awarding the first door prize of the evening, and it's sponsored by Holland & Hart LLP. I don't know if you were paying attention, but the way that you got a door prize tonight was by visiting our excellent expo. So if you didn't do it this year, pay attention for next year. All right, the winner is, drum roll please, Kate Noble. Please note, here's the fine print. You are invited to pick up your prize at the registration desk at the end of the evening. Please note that your gift must be claimed by the end of the night, and we have more winners coming as the night goes on. It is my pleasure to celebrate with you and recognize our community and this year's remarkable award recipients. I think this is the best part of being on the alumni board, is getting to learn about and recognize these recipients. Tonight, we honor 6 individuals who exemplify the University of Colorado Law School's mission and vision through their work and achievements. So let's get started. Tim, you're it.
Awesome. Thank you, Caitlin. My name is Tim Galuzzi. I practice law at my firm, Cheney, Galuzzi & Howard, and I'm you don't know where they're sitting. And I'm a proud member of the class of 2014. As the, and other 14ers, all right. As the Law Alumni Banquet Chair, I'm excited to celebrate our 43rd annual Law Alumni Awards with each of you tonight. This is the law school's signature event, and it's a festive occasion for us to gather and reconnect with fellow alumni and colleagues as we recognize our distinguished honorees. Please join me in thanking this year's event sponsors. Your ongoing support has enabled us to raise impactful scholarships for the law school, which has opened doors for Colorado's best and brightest attorneys, leaders in business, and champions of public service. You can see a list of our platinum, gold, and silver sponsors in the program. And on behalf of our entire community, our sincerest appreciation to all of you. Now let's turn our attention to the awards and the nomination process. So the Distinguished Achievement Awards are given on a rotating basis to 9 honorees. Each category recognizes alumni that have risen to the top of their profession and made a substantial impact in their area of practice. Nominations for the Distinguished Achievement Awards are submitted online throughout the year and reviewed by the Law Alumni Board. If you are watching this program thinking about the friend or colleague in your life who deserves to be recognized for their achievements, make sure that you nominate that person before the deadline at the end of July. It is your chance to help us recognize someone extraordinary at next year's Law Alumni Awards event. Without further ado, Dean Lolita Buckner-Innes will kick off the award presentations. So please join me in giving a very warm welcome to our outstanding Dean of the University of Colorado Law School, Lolita Buckner-Innes.
Thank you so much. It is such an honor and a pleasure to be here tonight at our Alumni Awards celebration. Tim, Caitlin, thank you so much for your remarks, and thank you for all that you do and your commitment to our law school. Your friendship means so much to us at Colorado Law, and we are deeply grateful. Now, I think we all know that tonight's event is in some respects a do-over, except it's a do-over that never quite happened. We had to reschedule, of course, last week because of the massive snowstorm. And I really have to share with you that making that decision, working with our partners inside and outside the building, that was one of the hardest things I've had to do in terms of my work life. And you know, safety and security and prudence said that we definitely needed to cancel it. But you know, as I shared with some of you in the building, going through that process of deciding to cancel actually reminded me of something that happened a long time ago when I was 8 years old. I'm going to tell you about it because it doesn't seem to relate, but it kind of does. So when I was 8 years old, I had a stomach ache one night when I was watching television. My mother had let me stay up much later than I ought to have. So I really wasn't willing to tell her that I didn't feel well because that would have just really ruined the possibility of getting to stay up late again. Finally, I had to tell her, "Mom, I feel terrible." And she said, "Well, you know, I don't know, take some Pepto-Bismol, drink some water." That didn't work. It got worse and worse and worse until finally we had to do what my sister and I called the nuclear option. My mother had to call my stepdad at work and tell him to come home and get me. We had one car. My stepdad worked nights in an aircraft plant in Los Angeles, and if you grew up like I did, there were a couple of cardinal rules. Number one, you never, ever, ever called your parents at work. That's number one. Number two, if you somehow had to call your parents at work, you certainly didn't ask them to leave work before the shift was over. So I was terrified. My stepdad came home. I wasn't feeling any better. We all piled into the car. We started circling around Los Angeles looking for emergency rooms. This was LA in the bad old days. So they were all full of gunshot victims. So we kept going to places where maybe I could be seen. And all the while we're driving around, I'm in the backseat going, "Please let me be sick. Please let me be really, really sick," because I did not want to waste my stepdad's time. Well, to make a long story short, we had a happy ending. I had appendicitis and I got an operation that night. Now, you know, that's kind of the way I felt last week when we had to cancel this banquet. And we had a happy ending too. Some of us had at least 2 feet of snow. So I felt like what we did was somehow justified, but I had to share that with you. However, you know, in all seriousness, we so much value your partnership and your commitment to CU Law. And I can't say that enough. I've told you all, or I've told many of you in this room, that one of the key reasons I took this job was because of so many wonderful alumni that I met during the interview process. I have never attended or worked at a law school with so many committed friends and alumni, and you truly make the difference. Now, before I go any further, I want to take a moment to thank our platinum and gold sponsors, with special recognition to this year's platinum sponsor, Holland and Hart LLP, and to our gold sponsors, Berg, Hill, Greenleaf, Raciti LLP, Burns, Figa, and Will. And I didn't get that instruction about the conference clap, but you know, so go right ahead if you want. Cheyette and Denzo, Cheney, Galuzzi, and Howard, Garnett, Powell, Maximum, Barlow, Gibson, Dunn, and Crutcher, Lewis, Roca, Otten, Johnson, Robinson, Neff, and Roganetti, Polsonelli, Sheridan, Ross, PC, Wheeler, Trigg, O'Donnell, the University of Colorado Foundation, and Wheeler, Trigg, O'Donnell, LLP. Twice? Should I have that twice? That's because you guys are double awesome. Thank you. You can see a list of all of our generous sponsors in the program. And I just want to say on behalf of the University of Colorado Law School, you have our deepest appreciation. Now, as I think many of you in this room know, tonight marks my 3rd Colorado Law Alumni Awards banquet. And as your dean, I am truly, truly thrilled to be here. Now, as I sometimes say, these 3 years have sometimes felt more like 6 years. but I mean that in a good way, and I'm serious. Yes, there have been some difficulties. Some of those challenges existed, as I think some of you know, long before I got here, and some of those challenges persist. But you know, what I really find helpful as we move forward at Colorado Law is to think about the words of the late, great James Baldwin, who said, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced." And that is my motto. That is what gets me up in the morning. That's what sends me forward to spend so much time with our faculty, staff, our students, our alumni, and our friends. Now, having said that, this has certainly been the most difficult job I have had in my career. I can also happily share with you, though, this has been the absolutely most rewarding. Along with the challenges that we have seen at Colorado Law, we have seen tremendous successes. We have, for example, over the past 3 years, hired the largest number of faculty ever in the history of our institution, and they are phenomenal. I see a lot of you in this room today, and I am so grateful for you. We have had the opportunity to fill disciplinary areas like American Indian law, immigration law, tax law, and health law. And we are thankful that so many people have found us to be a great place to come to. We have also had record successes in raising the entering credentials of our law students. Now, you know, Colorado law students were always wonderful, so I'm always humbled when I see each year's entering class. This fall, for example, had the highest credentials ever in the history of our institution. Also, in the last few years, we have posted some of the highest post-graduation employment rates ever seen in the law school, and that is thanks to many of you in this room who hire our wonderful students. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for recognizing the excellence of our students. And we have, thanks to the generosity of so many of you, met this year and exceeded our fundraising goals many months ahead of schedule, and we continue to forge on because we are looking to improve the opportunities for our students, for our faculty, for our staff, and for our entire institution. We are working hard to fulfill our vision of supporting students and enhancing faculty and in deepening the excellence of our offering. And so I have to say, despite some obstacles and some well-known challenges, we are winning. We are winning. You know, when planning begins for this night, and we get so many nominations, they are meticulously assessed by the Law Alumni Board Nominating Committee. And they are continually inspired by the people who are nominated and all that they have achieved. And I have to imagine that of the work that the lab does, this is probably some of their hardest work because these are tremendous nominees that we have come in. We are excited to learn about all of our alumni, the breadth and the depth of what they do, what they accomplish, and how they help Colorado law. And that's just one of the many things that they do. We are so very proud to have played a role in your careers and in your roles in civic life. Because, you know, one of the things that people always ask me, so what is it that you think that Colorado law should be doing when you're teaching law students? Is there a particular topic? Is there a particular focus that you think that Colorado law should have in mind when you teach students? And I always say, you know, I suppose if I were going to summarize it, I'd say that the highest goal that we have at Colorado law is to create citizen advocates, not just advocates in the courtroom or the boardroom or the negotiation table, but citizen advocates, the kind of people who are going to go out there and not just do legal work in all the formal ways that we think about, but also do legal work with what I call the small L, the law, the rules, the norms, the things that really hold our society together. That's what we're building at Colorado Law. That is really the culmination of what goes on in the classroom and in the clinics and in externships. That's what we do. That's what we do well. That's what we're going to keep doing. Now, I am so humbled to be here and look at all the people who are winning awards tonight. You are all such amazing people. You are leaders everywhere, and you represent the excellence, the innovation, and the bold spirit of justice that Colorado law aspires to advance in the legal profession and in our society. And let me also just say this, something I say a lot since coming here. Colorado law students and alumni are really nice. And I know that sounds odd. But I'm gonna say, I started my career practicing in New Jersey. I love New Jersey, don't get me wrong. But man, the lawyers in New Jersey and neighboring New York, I gotta add, they're not like the people here. So I came to this with quite a different set of expectations in terms of what our students and certainly what our lawyers and our legal community would be like. The collaboration, the friendliness, the intelligence, the boldness, the same things that I see among our students in the hallways every day, that's what I see among our alumni. And so it just gives me such great pleasure to be here tonight. Now, I am going to have the great pleasure of offering a couple of awards. And I want to say that tonight's honorees for all of our awards are extraordinary. I thank each and every one of them for making such a positive impact and exemplifying our profession. So let's get started. Ready? You ready? You ready? Ready? Okay, we're ready. All right. I am honored to present tonight's first Dean's Choice Award. The Dean Edward C. King Making a Difference Award is awarded posthumously to Ashley Boothby, class of 2013, for her unwavering devotion to the legal profession and her commitment to do right even when challenged. I wonder if we can cue Ashley's video so we can learn about her impressive accomplishments.
I knew Ashley first as a law school classmate. We reconnected several years later when she came into the division where I work now as a policy advisor.
I knew right away that this was an incredible intellect and just an incredibly talented person.
I've known Ashley since 2010. She was one of my star recruits to the law school when I was running the admissions committee.
Ashley was generous, whip smart, funny, and in all of the things that she did, cared about the impact she had on the world and the people around her.
One thing you notice right away is that Ashley is one of the most brilliant people that I, or really anyone, will ever meet. But more important was how passionate she was about the law and helping people and how much she cared. You could tell right away that this is someone who's going to be driven not just to succeed, but to use her immense talents to help people.
A unique skill that Ashley had was the ability to have a really deep and thorough understanding of the law and the world as it is, and still have a visionary approach to thinking about the law and the world as it could be and should be.
She did an amazing amount in the years she was with the Division of Labor to make things better for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of Coloradans.
So it's not an easy path to go from dominating in a top-notch elite legal education to then decide that you want to take those talents and spend your career trying to squeeze justice out of the system for the most forgotten, most disregarded people.
I have heard so many stories about how Ashley made them feel smart and empowered and respected in their work. And I think she just really had the effect on the people around her of making them feel seen and cared for in a really fundamental way.
The first thing I would want Ashley to know is how proud I am of her. The next thing I'd want her to know is how much she's still with me. I sort of come to appreciate how nothing is ever fully here and nothing is ever fully gone. Her impact didn't end with her death, not just substantively, not just in the law, but in how I approach things and how I understand people comprehensively and the need to address mental health as we help the next generation of lawyers come up around us.
Ashley spent decades of her life working diligently on finding a place of mental health. She had a lot of wellness and joy. She had family members who she loved and who loved her. She traveled. She had friendships that she enjoyed. I think she loved her work. The heavy, dark moment that was the end of Ashley's life, it wasn't her whole life, and it doesn't define her whole life.
If I could say anything to Ashley now, it'd just be, thank you for everything. It's amazing knowing you and having you in my life as a student and coworker and friend. I know I'm not the only one who feels that way. So many people whose lives you were in feel the same. And I also know that there are thousands, tens, hundreds of thousands of Coloradans whose lives and rights are better because of all the amazing things you did. So you succeeded at everything you wanted to do. And we'll miss you, but you really did, Ashley.
I'd like to have members of the Boothby family come up to accept this award in honor of Ashley's commitment to make a difference.
Well, this is a bittersweet moment for our family. Thank you, Mary Donaghy and Professors Scott Moss and Andrew Turner for your eloquent memories of Ashley. She would have been amazed at receiving such a significant honor and recognition by her peers. We also want to thank all of Ashley's friends and family and colleagues who made it possible for Ashley to shine in the too limited time she spent on this earth. Our family also wants to express its appreciation of the class of 2013 for renaming the class scholarship the Ashley Boothby Memorial Scholarship. And thank you, Emily Nist and Georgette Vigil, for working with our family to endow this fund so it will continue in perpetuity. This scholarship will now provide support to students at the University of Colorado School of Law who, quote, exemplify Ashley's thirst for good, compassion, kindness, and dedication to helping those in need. Our family is also working with Emily to establish an annual speakership to support the mental health and well-being of Colorado law students, alumni, and Colorado lawyers throughout the state. Finally, in her memory, we ask all of you to confront the stigma surrounding mental health, depression, and suicide. I will leave you with a quote from one of Ashley's heroes, Robin Williams. "Everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind, always."
Thank you, Boothby family. Thank you so much for the gift of Ashley. Thank you. Next, I would like to present the second Dean's Choice Award, the Sunny Flowers Award. That award is awarded to Patricia Corrales, class of 1989, for her exceptional commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I'd like us to please cue Patricia's video so we can learn about her impressive accomplishments and her strong commitment to her work.
Patty has tenacity like no one else I've ever encountered.
She's so incredibly confident in everything she says, everything she does. Patty is amongst the best lawyers I've ever met.
Patty's reputation in the immigrant community is pretty outstanding. She's always comes in well prepared. She knows what she's doing. And I always have admired that.
I think that she would fight as hard as she fights, no matter what she was doing. But does she identify with the client? Absolutely. I think part of it comes from being an immigrant herself.
I was born in Cochabamba, Bolivia. I knew that I always wanted to be a lawyer. And I ended up at the University of Colorado Law School. And it was a very wonderful experience. I took this course called Trial Advocacy, and it gave us an opportunity to actually handle cases, live cases. They assigned a case to me involving a woman and her son, and she was being evicted because she couldn't pay the rent. And I had to be her voice, and I just came to really love telling a person's story. Hey guys, how are you? And advocating for that person and being in court. And so from there on, I was hooked. I wanted to be a trial lawyer.
The fact that she worked for the government, the immigration authorities, for 18 years has really given her a perspective on how to get things done, how to maneuver that arcane system.
People who come from government into private practice bring a wealth of knowledge and experience about how things work, and I think that's incredibly valuable.
There's a lot at stake in the cases for our clients. It's the difference between living in the shadows or being free to pursue the American dream, my goodness, which we all want. It's the difference between family separation and family unity. This award for her is right on the money.
I know that the award is being given for people who've made contributions in the equity, inclusion, and diversity field. And Patty has absolutely done that 100% by working with people in the immigrant community.
What I see are genuine people who all they really want is an opportunity to have a better life, to give their child a better life. They see this great country as a beacon of hope, a pathway of a better future. That's what it's about.
Thank you. Now, Patricia couldn't be here live with us tonight, so we have a video of her acceptance. So we'd like to play that.
Good evening, everyone, and I'm so sorry that I'm not joining everyone tonight. Alas, the Colorado weather last week prevented us from being together. I wanted to take a few minutes to thank the University of Colorado School of Law for this great and prestigious honor. The Sunny Flowers Alumni Award is an amazing thing to be bestowed, and I'm very thankful and super surprised that I was honored with this award. I especially want to thank, of course, God and my two parents who are not with me today and my family. I am not the lawyer I am without my mom and dad and my family behind me. For those who don't know me and for those who do know me, the one thing about me is I love being a lawyer. And the foundation of being a good lawyer, I received that foundation especially from the University of Colorado School of Law, but in particular from a class that I took eons ago when I was a third-year law student from Pat Furman. He taught me trial advocacy, and he changed the course and direction of the kind of lawyer I wanted to be. I thought always I was going to be a corporate lawyer, but taking that class made me realize that people need voices. Even the government needs voices, and those fighting against the government need voices. So I decided to be a trial lawyer, and I never regretted it one day. When I was a young justice lawyer, and it was right after 9/11, I was bewildered by what happened to our country. I was scared. I was frightened, just like so many. And today I find myself just as bewildered and just as frightened because our democracy is at stake. Our democracy and the foundation of our democratic values is at stake. And I was handed a poem by Maggie Smith, by a colleague of mine when I was a justice lawyer doing national security cases. And that poem struck me, and it has reminded me every day of my life of the kind of lawyer I want to be. If I can, let me just share with you a part of the poem that just, to me, speaks to me, and I hope it speaks to you. Life is short, and the world is at least half terrible. And for every kind stranger, there is one who would break you. Though I try to keep this from my children, I'm trying to sell them the world. Any decent realtor walking through a real shithole chirps on about good bones. This place could be beautiful, right? You could make this place beautiful. This poem speaks to me because I believe as lawyers, we can make this place beautiful. We can make our country great. We can make sure that people's voices are heard and make life more beautiful then. I wish I could be with you tonight, but I want to thank all of you and hope you all enjoy your evening. Thank you so much again for this award.
Thank you. Now I invite Tim Galuzzi to the stage to highlight a brief fireside chat spotlighting the clinical education program.
All right. I told myself I wasn't going to cry a ton during Ashley's video, but that didn't happen. Truly a remarkable woman. Thank you so much for the Boothby family for being here to accept the award on her behalf. Thank you to Dean Innes for presenting those awards. Just a heads up, they're going to start delivering the entrees, so you should have a food card in your name tag. And if you have not already put that out in front of your plate, if you might do that so that the folks serving food know what your entree preference is. Before we award the Distinguished Achievement Awards and the law school's highest alumni honor, the William Lee Nouse Award, we would like to highlight the clinical education program at the law school. And the reason why is because alumni have asked to learn more about what's happening at the law school and how it impacts students and alumni. If you attended the dinner last year, you know that we had a fireside chat with students who were Lilac Scholars, and we were able to raise funds for that program that night. This year, we'll chat with 2 students in the clinical programs at the law school, and they can share more about their experience in the clinics. So please welcome to the stage Madeline Finlayson and Ryan Rael, both 2 Ls. Real quick, hold on, I'll give a little bio for you. So Madeline Finlayson, if you can She's a 2L at Colorado Law and a student attorney in the Samuelson Glushko Technology Law and Policy Clinic, or as the hip kids call it, the TLPC. As part of her work for the TLPC, she and her fellow student attorneys advocate for policy change in the public interest on telecommunications, intellectual property, privacy, accessibility, and more. Ryan Rael is a 2L at Colorado Law and a student attorney in the American Indian Law Clinic under Professor Christina Stanton. Throughout the academic year, she has been a part of a team, including members of the Juvenile and Family Law Clinic, and she's also been involved in discrimination and voting work. Ryan hopes to use her experience as a strong foundation for a practice in civil litigation. So please give them a round of applause. All right, I think we're all set. So we're just going to have 2 questions for Ryan and Madeline. So starting with Madeline, and then we'll take it in reverse order for the second question. But just tell us the story of how you chose your particular clinic.
For me, I chose the Tech Law and Policy Clinic because I knew coming into law school that technology was a special passion of mine, something that I was really excited to work on. And I'd never worked in a policy type role before, and so I thought it would be really cool to do something like that and work with such cool clients while I have the chance to do so. And also the Tech Law and Policy Clinic covers a lot of different areas of technology which are only becoming more and more relevant to legal work generally. So I was excited to get a good overall understanding of technology in the law and be able to have great mentorship through that.
Nice. Ryan, can you tell us the story of how you chose your clinic?
Well, I certainly do not have as good of an answer as that. I didn't put a ton of thought into it. It was something that my 1L year, I just knew I was going to do. I knew I was going to do the clinic. I knew I was going to do the American Indian Law Clinic, and it was never something that I really thought about. Obviously, now I can sit back with hindsight and list all of the amazing things that I have gotten from this program, all of the wonderful experiences, but really at the time, it was a gut feeling telling me this is what I was going to do.
All right, that was my experience too when I was in law school, but that's a great segue. Now you can tell us about everything that's happened. So tell us, how has your clinic participation impacted your law school experience?
Absolutely. I think it's easily the most valuable experience that I have had in law school. I think a lot of times in our classes we're learning theory and we're learning doctrine from 3,000 feet, and clinic gives you the opportunity to get a boots on the ground understanding of how these laws are impacting people in a real way. I think that, well, this is just my opinion, but I think that the legal profession is probably the highest paid service industry that we have. At the end of the day, we're here to serve our clients, we're here to serve the public, we're here to serve the judicial system and the common good. And I think it's really valuable to be able to connect with our humanity and the people who are actually putting us in our jobs.
Is there an experience that stands out to you in terms of a client that you were actually able to help or something like that that you could share?
Yeah, you mentioned that I was part of a joint team in the fall working on an adoption case. And I remember before trial, I was in the clinic office and I was so stressed out and I was pulling files and trying to make sure that my folder was ready to go, and oh, what if the judge asks this, and oh, what if we need this, and I needed 5 different versions of everything. And I was really nervous and I wasn't looking forward to court just because it felt very over my head. And I remember we got there and the little girl who was the subject of the case, she was just bouncing around the courtroom and she was so happy. And in that moment, I just remembered why we're doing all of this, and it was so incredibly worth it.
Yeah, awesome. Madeline, what about you? How has your clinic experience impacted your law school career so far?
For me, it's been the best thing that I've done in law school so far, aside from learning some more hard skills like writing and research that I will take to my summer internship at Holland and Hart, and then also beyond.
Our platinum sponsor, Holland and Hart.
Also, just like It has been, for me, something that synthesizes so well with everything else that I've been learning in law school. I've taken a lot of tech-related classes. For me, I'm also interested in moot court and appellate advocacy. I've been able to work on several amicus briefs in my time at the clinic, and that has only helped my skills there. I'm also on the Colorado Technology Law Journal, and my clinic director has been like nothing but wonderful in terms of helping me with my student note. And so these skills are transferable for me to like everything else that I do at the law school and has really informed my whole experience. And finally, the clients, as Ryan mentioned, they make the work entirely worth it. It makes the work so meaningful in a way that I've never experienced before working in the legal world. For example, we got to work with a nonprofit called Boothby last semester that's based in Pakistan, and being able to hear from them about how every single day they show up and risk being disappeared because of the work that they do to promote freedom of expression there, and being able to work with my clients now who are nonprofits representing various disabilities organizations to help people get the accessibility that they deserve. It's so personally meaningful to me and really makes my law school experience feel well-rounded and significant.
Yeah, awesome. Well, and I think we all know that adding on to your plate as a law student is sometimes a tall ask, so the fact that you both have willingly undergone that is great. Clinic was certainly one of my most valuable experiences in law school as well. In fact, by show of hands, who else was in a clinic when you were in law school at Colorado Law? All right. Great, because now you're on the hook.
Tim, which clinic were you in?
How valuable clinic education is, and I was really inspired, I think, by your examples of actually helping real clients, because the work that the clinics do benefit not only the students and get them prepared for practice, but it helps real people out in the world. If you are interested in supporting the clinic's program, if you look on the back of your program, you will see a QR code that if you scan on your phone, you can make a donation to the clinical programs right now, tonight. And it is, I mean, as Ryan and Madeline have shown us, it's very impactful work, not just for the students, but also for the clients. So if you're feeling that urge tonight, please act on it. It matters a great deal. Thank you very much for those that do donate, and thanks to Ryan and Madeline. Thank you so much. Okay, welcome back, it says on the script. It's just me again. All right, so some of our award winners were not able to make it because of the rescheduling. Our first honoree of the Distinguished Achievement Awards is Kenneth Kupfner, class of 1998, who is being honored with the Distinguished Achievement in Public Service Award. So let's please play the video about Kenneth.
I was born and raised in Boulder County. My family's been here for many, many generations, hundreds of years. It certainly is a place that will always be home for me.
He's extremely compassionate. He's very caring. He takes those qualities into the work that he does. He's always looking for not only how do I do this well, but how do I do this right.
He has committed his life to serving others, to serving individuals, to serving the community, to finding justice.
Ken is driven by service above self because he recognizes that the work he does has an impact on so many people, and that we have an obligation as prosecutors to ensure we're doing the right thing.
The criminal justice system was really where my interests were from the very beginning. As a family and having grown up in the area, friends, I had had exposure over the course of my life to both sides of the criminal justice system.
He brings every part of himself to this job, and it's inspiring, and it makes you want to do the same. It makes you want to be just as good because he's doing it right, and he's doing it right every single day.
Public service in the life of a lawyer is the only life I know. When I say my satisfaction comes from helping people, it comes from helping victims, and I think it's about helping defendants. Some of my greatest moments of satisfaction were when I took risks on defendants that maybe were at a place in their life where maybe they didn't deserve a chance, and I gave them a chance and it worked out.
When a serious case comes in the door, no one better than Ken Kupfner to respond to and handle that case. When we have a program that we could set up to help the lives of the offenders who are being brought into the justice system, Ken Kupfner is the perfect person for that as well. There are very few prosecutors I've worked with in my entire career who bring that unique and powerful combination together like Ken Kupfner does.
Ken has taught me how to think critically about cases and to think critically about what is justice and what does justice mean.
I have gotten great reward over the years to helping others, and the biggest challenge is sometimes walking away knowing that you can't help everybody.
I'm either laughing with the guy or crying with the guy because, he's been a best friend, or like I said, more like a brother. You leaned on each other. We grew up together in this place. I've been very proud to work alongside him for all these years.
He will tell you, oh, it's all other people, that you standing on the shoulders of giants and what have you, but he doesn't realize he's the giant, and he's the giant that so many of us have stood on the shoulders of.
Ken, thank you so much for your outstanding service. I am truly fortunate to work with you. You have done so much, not only for the community, but for those around you in your personal life and your professional life.
I can't thank you enough for all of the things that you have done to help me develop as an attorney, to help me develop as a prosecutor and a person.
It has been my true honor of getting to work alongside you, to grow up with you, to be your friend, to be your colleague. I can't think of a better and more deserving person than you to receive this Public Service Award. Congratulations, Ken.
The first time I ever met Ken Kupfner, he was a judge of a mock trial round that I had when I was in law school. And so I feel like in true Ken Kupfner fashion, because of the rescheduling, he's actually in DC with Colorado Law at a mock trial competition. So good on Ken. But he has recorded a video to accept his award. So can we please play Ken's acceptance video?
I want to start by just saying thank you for this award. I'm really sorry that I can't be there in person to accept. I'm in Washington, D.C. with a group of CU law students getting ready to start a mock trial competition this week. I was humbled when I got the call that I was receiving this award, and I looked at the list of people who had received the Public Sector Alumni Award in the past, names like Tooley and Ritter and Romer, Al Dominguez, John Suthers, Joe Neguse. I felt like each of them had contributed so much more in the public sector than I have in my time as a prosecutor and teaching at the law school. But thank you. I appreciate the recognition. I would never have been able to accomplish, never been able to do the things that I've done for the public had it not been for the tremendous support that I've had throughout my career. Support from my coworkers, a couple of whom you got to hear from tonight. Coworkers who were by my side through good times and bad, through hard decisions and doing hard things, often right there with me in trial or meeting with victims, doing the hard things that as prosecutors we have to do in order to serve our community. Most of all, I want to thank my family. My family has sacrificed tremendously to enable me to serve the public in the capacity that I have over the last 25 years. My two wonderful kids, Kenneth and Shauna, kids who grew up not knowing if their dad was going to be there when they woke up in the morning or if he would have run out in the middle of the night to go to some law enforcement agency that needed his assistance or a crime scene of the latest atrocity in Boulder County. My kids are everything to me, and I recognize the sacrifice that they've made for me to be able to contribute to the public. My mom, who has always been a tremendous supporter of my career, a mom who understood when I couldn't be there at Easter or on holidays because I had something come up that I needed to deal with at work. My great partner, Sandy, who never complains about the 2 a.m. calls and my running out in the middle of the night. Couldn't have done this without all of them, and I accept this award, but I accept it, acknowledging the sacrifice that those around me have made over the years. Thank you.
Didn't the people in his video say he was going to do that? You know, thank everybody else. And congratulations to Kenneth. We're sorry that he couldn't be here tonight. Next, we have the privilege of recognizing Kim Pryor, class of 2010, who is being awarded the Distinguished Achievement Corporate Counsel Award. Can we please play Kim's video?
Conviction is having the integrity to do what you know is right. Consideration is having the capacity to see someone else's viewpoint. Balancing those two things is oftentimes complicated in the practice of law. Kim does it as well as anybody I've ever seen.
Kim has impacted my life in many, many ways, not just professionally, but personally. She stretches and asks more of me as her lawyer than I thought possible, more of my team than I thought we had to give. She holds a standard of us that is equal to the standard she holds of herself.
If everyone has a superpower, I think mine would be my ability to connect with people and get them to trust me and really work with anyone, talk to anyone, and build good relationships with them.
To me, that's a constant in Kim's approach with people, that she just has the ability to draw you in, and from the first time you meet her, make you trust her.
She's both passionate and compassionate, and those are two different things. She's passionate in the sense that she's very results-driven, but she also understands her audience, and in this kind of job, that's extremely important.
I have never met someone with more energy than her. When you couple the energy with intelligence and determination, JBS is very, very fortunate to have her.
Obviously, she's very, very bright and understands the law and all the technical details of things, but there are lots of people who you could describe like that. What Kim has, however, is a judgment and the ability to see things from multiple sides.
She has an uncommon ability to see around corners. I can't tell you the number of times I've seen that she's formulated answers to questions that have not even yet been asked.
I think that when you're passionate about what you do and you like what you do, you will hone your craft. You'll be constantly learning and growing. It's contagious, right? So the people around you like it too, and then you're more successful together, and you're capable of achieving more than you otherwise would, and you're capable of building better relationships too.
Kim approaches so many people in different contexts and does so with grace and kindness. I look up to Kim and I seek her input, and I value immensely her feedback and thoughts. I feel honored to exist in her orbit because we're all better for it.
Kim, I certainly want to pass along my congratulations to you for this award. It's certainly well deserved. Keep doing what you're doing, because it's obviously been successful. And if you ever want to come back, just let me know.
Please welcome Kim Pryor to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow, that's loud. I don't need that. Hi. You know, leading up to events like these, at least for me, I go through these peaks and valleys of emotions, of feeling honored, and then unworthy, excited, and then nervous, confident, and then exceedingly not so. And then someone recently said to me, Mr. Berg, that, oh, Kim, this award has very little to do with you. And I thought about it, and how right he was. Because what makes events like this, awards like this, receptions like this so important has nothing to do with me. Rather, it's to recognize the time and effort and resources, and especially the sacrifices of all of those in my life spent on my behalf. all of those collective efforts that make moments like this for me and for us possible. So this award is for the unfailing sacrifice and amazing support of my beautiful parents. Even though back in the day, they weren't so sure about this whole lawyer thing, they have since come around. It's for the time and effort and collaboration of all of those people that make a university like CU Law so great. It's for the chance that my first boss took on me when he hired me as an associate. And it's for all the partners and mentors and lawyers I have had, and women I have had since in my life that push me every day to be better and do better than I was or had done the day before. It's to recognize my CEO who ventured to take a risk and let a young 30-something-year-old become general counsel of the world's largest food company. It's for that cohort of us. It's for that cohort of us that were in the thick of it, in war rooms, working late at night, eating out of paper boxes, and finding our first reprieve at 11 p.m. at the local bar. It's for my friends, my tribe, who stick with me through my highest of highs and lowest of lows, and who answer my calls early in the morning or late at night. And it's for all the law students here who might not know what kind of lawyer they want to be or what they're passionate about, so that they can see and be inspired by the careers of my fellow nominees, of the various successes they've had in a myriad of different ways, or so that they can see what a woman can achieve in a male-dominated industry and company when you set your mind to it and work hard. Thanks, guys. And tonight, it's also so that they can be reminded, so we can all be reminded that while life is fleeting, Ashley showed us what can be accomplished and the impact we can have even in a short period of time. So go do it. And it's for my sister who pushes me to keep up with her and to be the best version of myself I can possibly be all of the time, even when I'm tired and especially when I don't feel like it. And it's for my children so that they are given some kind of reprieve to know that their patience and sacrifice for mom and mom's job and mom's travel and mom's work is, at least for a moment, worth it. So now that I have realized all of that, thanks to Mr. Berg, it's easy for me to stand up here knowing that none of this is for me. It is for all of those people in my life and so many more, so that they know that their time and effort spent on me was, hopefully, worth it. And I hope they know how truly grateful I am, for we are all only as good as the sum of our parts, and how lucky I have been that my parts, the people in my life, have supported me the way that they have, and how much they have meant to me, whether they were in my life for a moment, for a season, or I'm lucky enough to have them for a lifetime. I am forever indebted to and grateful for them. So, cheers to us. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Kim. Next up, our next award winner of the evening is Lucy Stark, class of 1998. Lucy is receiving the Distinguished Achievement in Private Practice Award. So can we please roll her video?
I think what sticks out most about Lucy is she's generous and loyal in every sense of those two words.
Lucy's the kind of person who just makes life a lot more fun and practicing law a lot more fun. She is an effervescent person who just has this joy about her, who exudes this joy and happiness about her.
Lucy is a warm, engaging, bright, happy person to be with and to be around. She has terrific leadership quality, terrific empathy and sympathy. Just an outstanding individual.
I loved law school. I think I came home from law school the very first day and called my parents and said, I feel like a kid in a candy store, because I wanted to take every single class. I loved my classmates. I had never been in a place where people were so smart and curious.
Lucy was an exceptional student, very bright, very engaged, kept me on my toes, but not intentionally so, I think.
When I first met Lucy, I was a brand new lawyer early in my career. I didn't know a 10K from a 10Q. Lucy gave me incredible opportunity in my career to stretch and to grow. If there was a really challenging project that we were working on together, she would give me rope to try to figure it out. I get a little choked up thinking about it, but I don't think I would be where I am today if I hadn't met Lucy.
I love my day when I get to help people, whether it's been helping clients who are navigating really complex SEC rules. I feel like I make their day better if I can make that easier on them. And if it's in the managing partner role, I'm working every day to make my colleagues' lives better. Having a profession that has allowed me to kind of every day say, I helped somebody today, is really rewarding.
I think that Lucy exemplifies what CU hopes to produce in its lawyers. You have someone who's built a phenomenal career, is now leading the law firm as the managing partner, and at the same time has been really generous with her time and resources. She hasn't just achieved being a great lawyer, she's a great person.
Lucy, I want to thank you for showing me how to practice law with empathy, with compassion for other people. And I want to thank you for showing me that there's joy in the practice of law. This is a great profession that we're privileged to be a part of.
Lucy, we are so proud of you here at CU Law and all you've done and all you've accomplished.
Congratulations, Lucy. You are so deserving of this recognition. Thank you for being a role model, thank you for being a mentor, but mostly thank you for being a friend, and thank you for showing me what's possible.
Please join me in welcoming Lucy Stark to the stage.
Okay, bear with me. When Stan Garnett told me that I was gonna get this award, the first thing I thought was, do you have the wrong person? Because surely you can't mean me. And the second thing I thought was, oh my God, public speaking. So I'm not going to be anywhere near as eloquent because this is like my nightmare. But thank you to the Law Alumni Board. This is really meaningful to me. Thank you to Mark Lowenstein for being an amazing professor who continues to this day to have a meaningful and positive influence in my life. He'd be here tonight, but his new grandchild is having a bris tonight in Oakland, so he gets a pass. Thank you to CU for the wonderful, amazing education and the ability to engage in this profession that I've loved so much. To my roommate, Randy Grasgreen, who's here, and the people who got me through law school, because that wasn't easy. To my former colleagues and my mentors at Gibson Dunn, I learned a lot there. And to my amazing colleagues and friends at Holland and Hart, I love you guys so much. Amy Bowler, my office spouse, I could not do anything in this profession without you. And Leah, you too. Thank you so much for making me such a better securities lawyer than I ever could be without either one of you. To the partnership at Holland and Hart for giving me the honor of trusting me to be the managing partner of the firm. I don't know that I deserve it, but I love that I get to do that job. Thank you to my family, my parents who can't be here tonight, but who have always been an amazing example. To my brother and the rest of my family, my other brother and the rest of my chosen family here, thank you for making me who I am and for loving me despite that. To my children, Bailey, Jane, Jack, and now Tanner, thank you for always pushing me to do more than I ever thought I was capable of. I don't deserve you. And thank you to my real spouse. I love you so much, Bo Stark. You are the love of my life, and I couldn't do anything in this world without you. So thank you. I love you.
Great job. You did. We did great. So one of my favorite parts of this whole event is watching the faces of everybody as we watch these videos, because you can just see the impact that folks who win awards have had on the lives of the people that love them. And some of that is a testament to the nominating committee of vetting and choosing the appropriate award nominees. So if we could give one more round of applause, to the nominating committee. It's chaired by Stan Garnett, who's there at that table. Good job. Our final award of the evening is the law school's highest honor. It is the William Lee Nouse Award, and I invite Dean Innes to the stage to present that award.
As you've just heard, we are at the final award of the evening, the William Lee Nouse Award. Please enjoy this video that we're going to queue up that gives you some background on the person behind the award. And so if we could.
My grandfather, William Lee Nouse, was born in Ouray, Colorado in the late 1880s. He ended up being a graduate of the University of Colorado Law School
I think
in
we've got a bit
1911.
of a technical
My
difficulty.
grandfather really was a man for Colorado, as was noted in one of the Denver
We're going to
newspapers.
pause while they try to fix that. There we go. There we go.
Standpoint, he was elected both to the State House of Representatives and the State Senate, and became president of the Senate, President Pro Tem. And in the executive branch, he became governor of Colorado. We think probably the only person in the history of the United States to serve as the top office holder in all three branches of government. And in 1950, Harry Truman was president of the United States. And he offered the U.S. federal judgeship to my grandfather, and he had a tough decision to make. He was governor on one hand, very popular governor, but he loved the law on the other hand. So he did accept that appointment to the United States Federal Court, District Court, and stayed there until he died in 1959. Well, the award presented by the law school is the one the family cherishes the most. A lot of people asked him in his life, what did he prefer, the executive branch of being governor or the judicial branch and the law? And he, on balance, preferred the law. He was a true public servant.
It is now my great pleasure to announce the recipient of the Nouse Award, the highest honor that Colorado law bestows upon one of its graduates. The award is given to an alumna or alumnus to recognize outstanding achievement and sustained service to Colorado law. Before I do that, let's take a moment to acknowledge the Nouse family who are here with us this evening for their contribution and continued support of tonight's program. Bob Nouse, grandson of William Lee Nouse, and his family, if you all could just stand up for a second, let us recognize you. Thank you for the honor of your presence. And now, this year, the Nous Award is bestowed on Zach Miller from the class of 1980. Let's cue a video that's a tribute to Zach.
Zach is an incredibly thoughtful and sensitive, caring person, a great intellect.
You know, with Zach, it was always just sort of he was a joyful person, and he emanates that, and it's just part of him, and he's quick to smile.
He adopted the West. He's this good old kid from Nebraska, from Omaha, and he came out here and he fell in love with the West.
I first came to Colorado in 1971 to go to Colorado College. Came very close to being a native, but my parents moved to Omaha when my mom was 8 months pregnant.
His love of outdoors, his knowledge of geography and history are all interwoven with his interest and knowledge of the law.
After college, I worked as a firefighter in the Southwest. I read about these amazing things that these young environmental lawyers were doing with these brand new laws. And I thought, you know, that looks really fascinating. I could do that.
One thing that I've always sort of admired in him is the guy who loves the mountains, loves being outdoor. He was a tremendous athlete. But at the same time, as a lawyer, he brings a great deal of excellence and special knowledge to what he does.
He really understands not just the law, but he understands the history of the area that we work. He understands the people.
My passion for the outdoors started really when I was a little kid. I'd see people whitewater kayaking and read about people backcountry skiing and rock climbing and climbing peaks, and it's like, I want to do all that stuff.
Zach not only encourages folks to learn the law and understand what's written down on the page, but Zach really encourages folks to experience the places where we all live.
So let's say you have an issue that's involving certain ditch rights. He wants to go check it out. So he'll do like a field trip. You know, and to a lawyer, we get excited if you get a new cup of coffee or something in the office, but he takes you out on a field trip and has a good time doing that. And it makes the practice real.
One time he was going on a trip to climb a mountain, I believe it was Mount Yale.
And he realized he didn't have his parka.
He had to climb the mountain, and the only coat he had was his suit coat.
So he just did it anyway in his blue blazer, and that became very famous.
One of my favorite memories of Zach is the picture of him standing on top of Mount Yale in a suit coat.
For me, the most enjoyable and interesting and memorable experiences I've had practicing law have been matters where I've actually got to get out in the real world and get dirty. I've actually got to go horseback riding for work, I think 6 different times, which is pretty nice that somebody pays you to do that.
We've all heard of Goethe, the German poet, who once said that to think is easy, to act is difficult. To act as you think is most difficult. Zach does that. He believes in mentoring young lawyers. He believes in, the environment and working to protect watershed issues. And those are his thoughts, but his life reflects that.
He always talks about who his mentors were. He took what was given to him and paid it forward, and it's a very important principle in his life.
I think on a personal level, the impact you have on other people are really the things that stay with you. You know, when you mentor someone and you help them succeed or you help them get through a hard time, things again where, tutoring in the DPS schools where you feel like you're making a real impact on people's lives, particularly young kids who may not have that many resources. That really is kind of what stays with you, I think.
Congratulations, Zach. I'm so pleased for you and to be a friend of yours and colleague and to have been able to practice so many years with you.
I am so proud that you've won this award. You deserve this.
And I hope you appreciate and understand how everyone here at the firm is so lucky to have had you as a colleague and to continue to have you as a friend.
You've really had an amazing presence, amazing impact on the natural resources law community here in Colorado. Thank you so much for everything you've done for me and for everybody that has worked with you over the years.
This video captures Zach's contribution to the legal community, making him tremendously deserving of the Nous Award. Please join me in congratulating Zach once again, and I'd like to invite him to the stage to say a few words.
A while back, I got a message from Georgette in the Dean's office, who's been incredibly helpful in getting organized for this event. And among other things, her message reminded me that attire for this evening's event would be professional business wear. And she sent me a helpful attachment of 12 photographs of what that consisted of. And on careful inspection, I didn't see one example of a bolo tie or a Western belt buckle or cowboy boots. So I don't know if I'm breaking the dress code, but as I started to suit up for this evening, I thought, well, you know, I don't want to make waves at this important event. I'm just going to find one of those old cloth ties I haven't worn in 30 years and dust them off and get those old dress shoes from somewhere in the back of my closet. And as I was considering that, I remembered two of my favorite and most influential mentors from CU Law were David Getchus and Charles Wilkinson, who are both gone now. And as most of you know, we lost Charles just last summer. And as someone mentioned in the video, I think it was Ann, that David is a Southern California kid. Charles was from New Jersey. I grew up in Omaha. But we all were like, hey, we love the West. We travel all over the West. We're going to dress like Westerners, you know. And they were not only loved to wear Western gear, but I think took some pleasure from time to time in bucking convention and kind of going against the flow. So in honor of and in memory of David and Charles, I was glad to dress up in the same outfit that I've been wearing for the last 30-some years. And I hope we're considered as raising the bar, not lowering the bar for what constitutes professional business attire. And I just want to say thank you, David and Charles, for everything you've done for the law school and for all of us. Many thanks also to the Alumni Board and the law school and Dean Ennis. We're so lucky to have her, and especially the Nous family for your continued support of this tremendous award. It's such a motivator for so many CU law graduates and practitioners. I will say that considering your grandfather's, the breadth and depth of his career and the achievements and character of the people who've won this award, it's really quite daunting and humbling to receive it. And for me personally, when I was a younger lawyer, I think I would have been pretty resistant to accepting an award like this. And part of the reason for that, when I was a young person, and sort of trying to find my way in the world spiritually, I took a vow of humility to myself. And years later, when people asked me why I took a vow of humility, my sort of glib, facetious answer was that I took a vow of humility because the other choices were poverty and chastity, and humility sounded like more fun. But the truthful answer, serious answer, was that I wanted to make sure that I always did the right thing for the right reason, and not for considerations of money or recognition or, frankly, to win awards like this. But if there's anything remarkable about my career, I think it is that I had just an amazing array for a natural resource lawyer of mentors, starting with David Getches at CU Law and Bob Golton, and continuing at the Interior Solicitor's Office and Davis Graham with Clyde Martz and Terry Fisk and Bill Hillhouse, Greg Hobbs, Bob Trout, Felicity Hene, and many others. But one of the most influential mentors I had wasn't a natural resource lawyer at all. It was a corporate lawyer named Don Hoagland. And some of you may recognize Don's name as the namesake for the Bar Association's annual Pro Bono Award. And he was a famous proponent nationally for the proposition that doing public service and pro bono work not only was the right thing to do and consistent with the oath that we all take as lawyers, but it actually made you a better lawyer and a more successful lawyer. And I never really worked at billed a single hour on any work project with Hoagie. We called him Hoagie behind his back, never to his face. But I had the privilege of tutoring with him at various DPS schools for young at-risk kids, and we worked on a couple other pro bono projects together. And near the end of Hoagie's career, he and his wife Mary, who was also a great lawyer and tremendous community activist, it seems like every other month or so they were receiving some amazing Lifetime Achievement Award from the various groups they'd worked with. And at one of those dinners, I came up to Hoagie and said, "Congratulations, Don, this is a great honor. And, you know, just between you and me, do you ever get tired of going to these dinners? You know, it seems like you're doing this like every other month." And never one to miss an opportunity for a teaching moment, Hoagie said, "Well, I notice that you come to all these dinners, like why do you come?" And I said, "Well, I come to honor you and these great groups that you've worked with over the years." And he said, "So what do you take away from that?" I said, "Well, one of the things I guess the main thing I take away is that even though you've had an incredibly successful career as a corporate lawyer, the most rewarding part of your career has been the public service work you've done and the people that you've mentored along the way." And then Don said, "Well, and so how does that make you feel?" So how does that make me feel? And I said, "Well, you know, honestly, I guess it makes me feel like I personally could do more of that I should do more of that." And he said, "Well, there you go. You've answered your own question. That's why I accept these awards and go to these dinners." And so what I learned from Hoagie is that the real, true, meaningful purpose behind these awards and ceremonies is not to stroke the ego of the recipients or even give them a pat on the back, but to encourage other people to follow in their footsteps. So, I don't pretend to come close to measuring up to Judge Naus or many of the other people who won this award, but in the spirit of Don and Mary Hoagland, I gratefully accept this in the hopes that some of you here tonight and others listening in on your computer in some small way might be motivated to try and find some opportunities to do more public service and pro bono work and mentor young people or younger lawyers that you encounter along the way. And finally, I have to say a special thanks to my family. As other people have well said, I couldn't have had a demanding career and done pro bono work and mentored folks extensively without their tremendous support and love. And so thanks to my wife Val and my daughters Emily and Sylvie who are here tonight. I appreciate you guys and love you more than more than I could say. And all that's left to be said, I think, is 2 CU teams in the big dance. Go Buffs. Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much, Zach. I'd now like to welcome Caitlin back to the stage for our closing remarks.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you and congratulations to all of our award winners. I know I leave this event every year feeling more excited and invigorated about not only the legal profession, but being a legal professional from CU Law. I hope you feel that way too. To all of our students in the audience, I hope you see how many awesome things you can do with a law degree. And to everyone here, I hope you follow in our award winners' footsteps and think, how can I do more good? Now it's time for some more door prizes. As we conclude the night, once again, you must be present to win. Please claim your award at the reception or at the table downstairs. But these events don't pay for themselves. So quickly, I'd like to re-recognize our gold sponsors. Thank you for everything you've done. Berg, Hill, Greenleaf, and Rossetti, LLP. Burns, Figa, and Will. Cheyette and Danzo, LLC. Cheney, Galuzzi, and Howard, LLC. Garnett, Powell, Maximum, Barlow. Gibson, Dunn, and Crutcher, LLP. Lewis Roca. Otten, Johnson, Robinson, Neff, and Raganetti, PC. Polsinelli. Sheridan Ross, PC. University of Colorado Foundation. And Wheeler Trigg O'Donnell, LLP. Thank you for your generosity. All right, you thought that was a lot of names. Here's some more names. Are you ready? Prize winners. Leslie Weiser, Bobby Galuzzi, Kathleen Nolte, Ryan Schaefer, Karen Brown, Laura Molstein, Brenna Finn, Matthew Kapsick, Sam Redder, Asa Verhoeven, Lucas Ellick, and Richard Bratton. Congratulations. I hope you're present. All right. This concludes our award ceremony. There are desserts in the back. I hope you'll stay and mingle and have a dessert. Once again, thank you to the staff, and thank you all for being here tonight. Oh, and if you'd like to take a centerpiece, you could do that. Thanks so much. Good night.